The sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie has finally been revealed to be Super Mario Galaxy? Yeah, much to the surprise of many and also a few, Nintendo has decided to adapt Super Mario Galaxy from their Nintendo Wii into their second film. Now, why would this be a shock? Well, the answer is actually a lot simpler than it may seem. Back in about May, Universal had made an announcement post discussing many of their future projects. Now, fans were quick to notice that there were two versions of this post, one of which was quickly taken down and replaced. Luckily, fans were able to spot that among these original titles was the title Super Mario World. And for the longest time, this was the accepted title to fans for the second Mario movie. Plus, it made total sense at the time because the end credits for the Super Mario Bros. Movie featured a Yoshi egg hatching in the middle of Brooklyn. Yoshi, of course, made his first video game debut in Super Mario World back in 1990, so things seemed to all fall into place. Then, the newest Nintendo Direct had been released, and to say the least, fans were shocked to find out that this had actually been wrong and opened the floodgates to a lot more speculation. So today, I'm going to recap a lot of information about the movie and even pitch an idea for what the film could end up being. According to Chris Meledandri, the film would mostly be inspired by the Super Mario Galaxy games. Yes, I say games because Yoshi wasn't introduced into the Mario Galaxy series until Mario Galaxy 2. However, potential evidence seems to point to other games being involved with inspiring the film. The first Super Mario Bros. Movie had inspiration from Super Mario Bros., Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, Mario 64, and even Luigi's Mansion. So it's not too far-fetched to think that the sequel would do the exact same. But when it comes to what games would inspire the story, the fairly obvious ones are, of course, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. But what other games could be joining the inspiration table? Well, from the trailer, we can actually assume one other big game inspiration, that game being Super Mario World. See, when the trailer begins, there are a few clues to Super Mario World's impact besides Yoshi's tease at the end. One of the first characters we see in the trailer is the character Monty Mole, who made his first video game debut in Super Mario World as an enemy who would attack you from below. Now, Monty is a fairly common enemy in the Mario franchise, but the other nail in the coffin is the fact that the trailer uses the Super Mario World theme throughout its entire run until right before the logo is shown on screen, when it switches to the Super Mario Galaxy theme. So easily, Super Mario World may be the third big game to inspire this next movie. Now, joining Super Mario World and the Galaxies, I actually have one more assumption to another game that could be used as inspiration. According to Chris Meledandri, he says that the movie will have inspiration for all generations of Mario. Super Mario World would fall into the original group category with the original few runs of the games. Galaxy would count as something along the lines of middle ground. But there's evidence for a fairly new game joining as well, that game being Super Mario Odyssey. But I'll come back to that in a second. Now, the first film did hint to this idea of Galaxy being the potential sequel, with Lumily appearing and, of course, Peach's ominous backstory. So it's likely safe to assume that Mario Galaxy will explore Peach's heritage to some capacity. Now, as the Direct was announced, many of the cast members are all returning. But what about new characters joining the cast? With the movie's focus on Mario Galaxy, it's almost guaranteed that Rosalina will be making her big screen debut alongside the other characters. However, other fans have been very eager to see many other characters join the roster. Primarily, besides Rosalina, the main frontrunners for brand new additions to the cast are Bowser Jr., the Koopalings, Wario, Waluigi, and of course, Princess Daisy. Believe it or not, there may be some evidence for a few of these characters actually joining the roster of the next film. Let's start off with Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr.'s first appearance was in the game Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube. Now, Sunshine is one of those games I really don't think Nintendo's going to adapt into a film. So, to introduce Bowser Jr., it makes sense to choose another game that he had a big part in. Lucky for Bowser Jr. fans, Bowser Jr. is one of the primary antagonists of the entire Mario Galaxy series. And honestly, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to see Jr. join the cast this time round with how big of an impact he has on the Galaxy games. And plus, if Mario's gonna have Toad, Luigi, Peach, and Yoshi all on this team this time round, I'd say Bowser Jr. is a pretty good bet as to who's gonna be helping Bowser. Now, sadly, the same may not be able to be said for his siblings, or co-workers. Nobody really knows at this point. The Koopalings have been a part of Super Mario's history since Super Mario Bros. 3, introduced as Bowser's children. However, their first canonical appearance would actually be Super Mario World, since Super Mario Bros. 3 is a stage play most likely put on in New Donk City. Although it would make sense to introduce the Koopalings to the film franchise, since it seems that Mario World will be heavily inspiring this film, Introducing Bowser Jr., Rosalina, and all 7 Koopalings may be too much to be packed into one film. And that's my main reason for them not joining this cast. I would love to see them join, don't get me wrong, but I think there's not enough time to focus on all the new characters plus the 7 Koopalings. So for now, they're most likely going to be missing from this sequel. Now, an interesting case comes up when it comes to the Wario brothers. While Wario and Waluigi are fan favorites, they don't usually appear in mainline games very often. First appearing in the games Mario Land 2 and Mario Tennis, these two have cemented themselves as the comedy bad guy duo of the franchise. But sadly, the fact that neither Wario or Waluigi have anything to do with Galaxy, World, or even Odyssey makes it seem that these two won't be showing up in any capacity. And while that does sound like a huge bummer for the two, I wouldn't count them down and out just yet. I'll come back to that in a bit. Now, surprisingly, the character with potentially the best likelihood of actually showing up in this new movie is Princess Daisy. And this all comes from her origin story. See, we already established that this film will probably explore Princess Peach's mysterious heritage. And who better to help that story along than Peach's cousin? Yes, Daisy is Peach's cousin. How my brother knew that before me and my best friend, I will never comprehend. Thank you, cute Mario Brothers. But that's not the only evidence. See, earlier this year, a seemingly authentic product was found online. That being, of all things, Super Mario Galaxy Old Spice deodorants. Yeah, when these were first found, it didn't take long for people to deem these as fake, since we had just gotten the Super Mario World title leak a little while before. However, now people have been taking a second look at these potentially real products, and even seemingly now, some more information about these products has come out, as there has been listings of these products with seemingly 6 different scents in total, and even a picture of a Mario scent alongside the previous 2 that were already shown. The new Yoshi render and even the Super Mario Galaxy logo seems to match very well with what we now know will be coming in the sequel. But what does this all have to do with Daisy, you ask? Well, when looking at Luigi's bottle, you then can see it's called Desert Detour. In addition, it shows the Sand Kingdom, also known as Tostarena, and a Tostarena even makes it onto the bottle. Now this is why I earlier said that Super Mario Odyssey may actually be involved in this movie, since Tostarena's first appearance was in Odyssey. Now, Yoshi's makes sense, because he was last seen in Brooklyn, and the title Brooklyn Bounce works because that's most likely where Yoshi will be first showing up. But while Tostarena did show up in the first Super Mario movie, Luigi was nowhere near there. Instead, he was in a cage the entire time. So why is Luigi paired up with this area? Tostarena is a desert area. And you know what else is? The kingdom of Sarasaland, home to Princess Daisy. It makes sense that these two areas would be connected, which means that Daisy could show up in their adventure to Sarasaland. But there's one last piece of information that could easily slide into Daisy's case, that being her debut game. For those who don't know, Daisy first appeared in the game Super Mario Land, where Mario had to save Sarasaland from an alien antagonist known as Tatanga. Keyword being alien. Even when the first Super Mario Galaxy was being released, Tatanga was highly assumed to be a secret enemy in the game, making his grand return. Now, even though this never happened, Tatanga has always been associated with the space in the Super Mario franchise. And Tatanga would probably fit easily into the story as kind of a space case guide character for Bowser. Almost like a Gollum character of sorts, someone who's helping our main bad guy, but has his own intentions. Now, one little piece of info that could help cement the idea of Tatanga's return is the fact that most of the characters we've mentioned are very mainline. However, in 2024, Keegan-Michael Key, the voice of Toad, said that Mario 2 would include some very deep-cut characters. The characters we've discussed previously aren't really considered deep-cut. However, someone like Tatanga would definitely be. So yeah, I'd say that Daisy may be the front runner and the character I'm expecting to see into this new movie the most. So with all that being said, what have we put together? Well, we potentially have a movie that will adapt Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Mario Odyssey, Mario World, and possibly even Super Mario Land. We also may see the inclusions of characters like Rosalina, Daisy, Bowser Jr., and maybe even Tatanga. But now the question is, could one movie use all of this at the same time? Well, I was actually able to put together a small story opening that may actually be able to use all of this successfully. So join me as I pitch an idea on how I think the Super Mario Galaxy movie should begin. The sequel would take place a few months, maybe a year since the first film. It would open very similarly to the first one, with our villains. Kamek has been trying to free Bowser for some time now, very unsuccessfully. Now, just something to mention is that this is also where we quickly meet Bowser Jr. in this film. But to be honest, in my story, Jr. is probably the one with the least to do, so he could potentially be cut out and it wouldn't change too much, so just keep that in mind. Kamek is then confronted by Tatanga, who proposes that he can help Kamek free Bowser as long as he gets something in return. He also tells him that he knows of a power that Bowser could use to take charge of everything, much like in the game. All Tatanga wants in return is Sarasaland. This is very in line with Tatanga and Bowser's motivations in their games. Meanwhile, the Mario Bros have actually been pretty successful as plumbers and also, well, heroes of Brooklyn. So much so that they have their own wannabes, Wario and Waluigi. Yeah, I found a way to squeeze these two in. The Wario Brothers often try to tag along with the Mario Bros to share in the glory and money of their fame. The bros are seemingly annoyed by them and often try to ignore them even though they don't seem to be able to take a hint. Meanwhile, back in the Mushroom Kingdom, Tatanga, Kamek, and maybe even Bowser Jr. stage an assault on the Mushroom Kingdom, trying to steal the castle into space much like in Mario Galaxy. Why are they trying to take the castle? Well, it's simple, because both Peach and Bowser are inside. As Peach tries to stop the invasion, she sends Toad out to find the Mario Brothers in time and bring them to the castle to try and stop Bowser. Meanwhile, as the Mario Brothers began to head home, they find out that there's a Yoshi who's been roaming around through the sewers of Brooklyn for some time now. They then try to get him back into the Mushroom Kingdom, but Wario and Waluigi both step in trying to cash in on the fact that there's a dinosaur in the sewers. The Mario Brothers are able to protect Yoshi in a funny chase scene, ending with Yoshi of course calling Luigi what we all want him to call him.
Mama Luigi!
Mama? Mama Luigi?
Toad then finds the Mario Brothers and rushes them back to the Mushroom Kingdom, only to find the castle itself being lifted up by Tatanga's spaceship. The Mario Brothers, Toad, and Yoshi all jump onto the castle trying to find Peach before it's too late. That is, until Bowser confronts them, is freed, and knocks him off the castle altogether. With the castle gone, Peach missing, and Bowser freed, the bros have no clue where to start now. And to make matters worse, Wario and Waluigi decided to follow the Mario Brothers into the Mushroom Kingdom. When all this was going on, Bowser then told Tatanga to prove his allegiance by hypnotizing the Mario Brothers, which ended up with Tatanga finding Wario and Waluigi instead of them, hypnotizing them and making them both Bulk and Skull-like antagonists. All seems lost until a huge entity known as Rosalina contacts the Mario Brothers, telling them that they need to stop Bowser and Tatanga from finding this power. She also mentions that Bowser will need Peach to gain this power due to her heritage. But there is one more possible person who Bowser might be able to go after, that being Peach's cousin from Sarasaland. The plan is that the Mario Brothers will split up, as Mario and Toad will chase after Bowser. Meanwhile, Luigi and Yoshi will head to Sarasaland to find Princess Daisy. But don't worry, Mario and Luigi won't be separated for too long, as Luigi won't spend too much time trying to get Daisy to help, and he'll join his brother in space fairly quickly. Also, it won't be long before Daisy is captured as well, allowing each character to have someone to pair with: Toad and Yoshi, Mario and Luigi, and Daisy and Peach. As for the rest of the film, I have no clue what's going to happen next. And honestly, that's when they should go out with the whole space adventure with Mario Galaxy. But all in all, that's my pitched idea for a Super Mario sequel, at least the opening. Either way, I'm incredibly excited to see the Mario Brothers back on the big screen, and I will definitely be buying my ticket as soon as I can. If you guys have any ideas on what else could happen in this film, or maybe who else could be showing up in this film, leave your comments down below and start a conversation. But until next time, we'll see you in the next video.